Welcome back to the Competitor Talk. This is your host, Kyle Dangler. This podcast is presented by Loud Creative Works, and today we're going to have guest Ryan Schimpf, former MLB infielder with the San Diego Padres and Los Angeles Angels. Today we're going to be talking about his time at LSU, where he won the 2009 National Championship, his time throughout the minor leagues, talking a little bit about, getting traded, what the process is like, and then his time at the major league level and how he dealt with failure and turned that into success. So we're going to be talking with him right now. Let's get going. So, playing at LSU, can you just talk a little bit about, your time there, what position you played, stuff like that, so the people out there know?
Yeah, so I'm a Louisiana guy, born and raised here, always a dream to go to LSU. Family went to LSU. My uncle ran track there. My dad went there. Uncle went there. Other uncle went there. So it was always a dream come true when I got the opportunity to go to LSU. And so I came in, my first season was 2007, and didn't really play a lot early on. Had a lot of growing and development to do, and we weren't a very good team at the time, and I kind of got thrown into the fire midway through, so I got a really good chance to play a lot, about 35 games or so. I got a chance to play, and it was actually pretty much all in the outfield. And then sophomore year comes rolling in, and I had a pretty good fall. Was gonna get an opportunity to start in the left field, and then we had an injury come about. The guy who was supposed to play base, Coach Maneri at LSU gave me an opportunity to play second again, because I wasn't very good at the infield at the time. I was very stiff and rigid, and I had a lot of improvement to do, and he gave me a second chance, and I ran with it, and capitalized on the opportunity, played every game there at second base.
So were you always an infielder, before you got to LSU, or?
I was, yeah. I grew up playing second base. I never played shortstop. Little League played shortstop here and there, but I think I'm probably one of the few guys to reach the big leagues who never played shortstop on his high school team.
Yeah, a lot of them transition,
Always second base, and a mixture of third in there, too, in high school. And then college, mostly second, but bounced to the outfield. So I think it's very important, and lucky that it was open and got the chance to bounce around. As anybody who's followed me can see, that it served me in my career bouncing around.
Yeah, so just playing at LSU, you played 3 years. So did you play in any the Cape Cod League, anything like that?
Yeah, no, I played summer ball. Never got a chance to play in the Cape.
Would the Northwoods League? Where'd you play?
So I played my first year. I played in the Central Illinois Collegiate League. I don't know if that's still around in that league. I don't know if it's called that, but I was in Danville, Illinois, and then my sophomore year I went to play in the Valley League, the Luray Rangers. Luray Wranglers, and then I got drafted after that. So 2 years summer ball.
Okay. Yeah, so just, playing at LSU, obviously, you mentioned in the beginning, 2007, you guys kind of have a rough time. But what happened, because obviously from 2007, 2009, you were national champs. Was it just, everyone kind of, came into their own? How did the program shift, you'd say?
Yeah, we were, I think, just personally, I think the guys that I played with were very proud at the journey and experience that we had at LSU. We were kind of in a transitioning period. Coach Maneri, his first year was in 2007. Our first year was in 2007, and we had a lot of improvement to do throughout that time. And then we struggled a little bit. We struggled a lot in 2007. We struggled a little bit the first half of 2008, my sophomore year, and then it just took a little bit of growing and maturing, and a little bit of our coach Maneri, who's unbelievable. We had a lot of kicks in the butt to get us going, kind of change our mindset, change our attitude. We had a lot of wake-up calls throughout that year, and at some point in time throughout that 2008 season, something just clicked for us that we just found a spark. I don't think anybody can really throughout any team that has that transition where something just clicks and you take off. It's hard to really put a finger finger on it, just something happens, and
awesome.
And we ran away. We won 23 straight games in a row, which is pretty impressive in college to do, and it took us into the College World Series, and we fell a little short that year, but even 2007, the struggles that we went through then, the struggles in 08.
Certainly helped,
That confidence boost, that just catapulted us to winning the national championship in 09 and really got our mindset where it needed to be.
Yeah, awesome. So, just, playing at LSU, I mean, it's one of the most prestigious programs around, in college baseball. Can you just speak, I know Alex Box Stadium, I mean, it gets packed every night. I mean, can you just speak a little bit about the stadium for those who don't really know about it? I mean, you guys pack like 10,000 a night there, so it must be pretty awesome, have the fans there every night, even on like a Monday night.
Yeah, we take our college baseball serious here in Louisiana at LSU. It's a special place, the tradition. I mean, that was created by legendary Skip Bertman and the players who came before us. I mean, those guys and they were the big leaguers to me growing up. So it's an unbelievable tradition, and I was very lucky to play in the old Alex Box Stadium and the new one. So it's impressive. The fans, they pack in 8, 10, 12,000 a night, and they're loud. They know the game, and it is a very special place to play.
Awesome. So, just speaking with your time, you got drafted in the 5th round. Can you just speak, a little bit about, like, how was your progression throughout the minors? Because, everyone has, like, their own different story about it. I know just being in the minors, it's a tough grind. Every level gets a little harder. So, I mean, did you have a tough transition going, from being, like, College World Series champ, being in, like, rookie ball, having to, like, not necessarily, but, like, have less fans, obviously, like, kind of, like, take a seat back?
Yeah, it's definitely a transition. Coming from LSU, where I was very lucky to go there and play there and succeed as a team and individually, where the spotlight's always on you and the media. So I was very lucky that helped me. Number one, that helped me with my work ethic because we worked extremely hard and we were held accountable. And that prepared me for the pro ball life in the aspect of the media and all that as you get older and go to the big leagues and you deal with the media. So that definitely helped me a lot. But just being able to be accountable for myself and to be disciplined, that helped me in the minor leagues, because when you get to the minor leagues, the organizations, they push you as much as they can, but at some point in time, for the most part, it's all on you. They're not gonna hold your hand. It's your career. You take charge. So that helped me. It is a little bit of an adjustment going from not so many fans to different cities and places. It's all different. The fans, the cities you go to, the ballparks. Because I was used to at LSU, we had crazy $50 million stadiums, and you go minor leagues, and it's definitely more of a grind with traveling, but it's an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything, and it was a heck of a journey, and I had a lot. I don't even know if we have enough time to talk about all the ins and outs of what I learned and what helped me, but we can continue to go on this path if you want, so fire away.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, if you want to just speak a little bit about, like, any, like, things stand out in the minors, I mean, definitely.
Yeah, the games. I love the professional game. I love the development part of it too. And I just, if you don't love the process of getting better, and if you don't love, it's kind of weird to say, if you don't love failure, it's like it's an addiction kind of that keeps you going. If you don't love the work and love the if you don't love failing, but ultimately succeeding in the end, it's a high that you get from baseball that makes it great. The work that you put in, the amount of times you fail, but then those times that you succeed,
it's rewarding.
Worth it. It's very rewarding, and it's an experience and an opportunity that has definitely prepared me for life after baseball.
Yeah, so I mean, just being in the minors, were you always, a guy, that had the same routine, got to the ballpark at the same time, watch film on the pitcher before the game? I mean, what was kind of your process going through, and even through the majors? I mean, were you more of a film guy? Were you more of, see the guy and, ask other hitters before you how they're pitching? What was kind of your mentality?
Yeah, it took me a little while to get into a good routine. I think it's very important early on to get a routine going. Not just in the cage, but just it's good to have a checklist that kind of keeps your day and keeps everything in order. That way you have something to fall back on when those times do get tough. But as I got older in my career, I definitely got more and more structured and organized in what I was doing, my work, from a hitting and defensive standpoint. And the biggest thing for me was a mental and a body checkpoint. I always had to get I was big into when I wake up, I had my eating routine. I tried to get to the field around the same time. Every time. Anywhere from, I would shoot for like that 1 o'clock range, but sometimes depending on if you had to put in a little more work earlier, so I tried to get there and really get my mind and my body in check, because that's the most important thing. If my body wasn't feeling good, I just always try to take as good care of my body as I could to be prepared. And then as I got older, the video was a big part, especially as I got to the big leagues. There's a lot of information there, and you have to be prepared, because those pitchers are studying, those starters, they're studying you days before, and as a hitter, you're studying that day. So I took a lot of pride and responsibility in getting myself prepared physically and mentally with the reports and checking the video, because that was very important.
So, just making your major league debut, June 14th, 2016. Can you just speak what was your feeling? Because we've had other guys on here, and they've talked about they remember the specific moment. I mean, do you remember just getting the call up? What it felt like playing?
Yeah, I'll never forget it, man. I had my wife and my daughter, and my mom and dad were actually they were visiting me in El Paso in AAA with San Diego, and I was playing really well, and I always believed that I would get there at some point, and I always prepared like that moment was going to come, and it was kind of surreal. Believe it or not, it was so crazy. I fell asleep, and I had a dream that I got a random call, and it's hard to believe, but I swear I had a dream that I was getting a call to go to the big leagues, and sure enough, I don't remember what time it was, maybe 12 a.m. I got a call from manager Rod Barajas that you're going to the big leagues. He kind of gave me a little spiel, saying like, "Hey, how you doing? You're doing well, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Hey, I wanted to be like, all right, get to the point. I know this is coming stuff." So he told me I was going to the big leagues, and it was a moment I'll never forget. I just started shaking. I couldn't really control it, just because I waited so long. I waited 7+ years, and I knew I would get there. It just, you're kind of like, all right, when's it going to happen? And you can never really plan how you're going to feel, how you're going to react. And I woke my wife up, and she knew what was happening, because there's only one call that's coming at that point in time, and ran in, woke my mom and dad up. They were staying, hanging out in the apartments. They were staying there at the time. And it was a scramble. Ran to the field, packed up everything, packed up my wife and my daughter. It's a
Awesome,
scramble.
man.
I probably got 1-2 hours of sleep max, and I wasn't expecting to play. And then I get there, I'm in the lineup hitting 6. I'm like, oh my God, this is real. So it was straight, but at that time you don't need any caffeine, nothing. You just go off of pure adrenaline. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, just playing, with the San Diego Padres, in 2016, you had 20 home runs, in a short season. What was going right for you, would say, at that point in your career?
I had at that point in time, I just kind of, I had a different mindset than I had any other year. I was older. I was 28.
Yeah.
I kind of had a little chip on my shoulder. I played really well the first month and a half at AAA, and that carried on. And I had my first child at the time, and that kind of fired me up and fueled me. And I just kind of played with a chip on my shoulder, like I deserved to be there, and that was the place to be, because that's how I always prepared. And the mental part was definitely huge for me. I played with a lot of confidence and expectation to be there and to stay there.
Mm-hmm. So, just, after, having like a great season and then, going into 2017, after that season, in December you get traded to Tampa Bay, and then it seems like you go through a little bit of spring training with them, and then all of a sudden, you're getting traded from the Rays to the Braves. So how was that process, getting traded by two teams, in a matter of months? I mean, was it difficult? Was it, okay? How did it go?
It's definitely difficult. It's not easy, especially I have two kids now. So at that time when I was getting traded, I had two kids and a wife. And my wife we were all at spring training. I actually got traded 3 times that year. And Yeah, it's definitely not easy because I came into camp with Tampa. I was ready to go. I had high expectations, and I felt like I was in a good place. And then I got the news that I got traded to Atlanta, and I was like, okay, it is what it is, and go ahead and do it. And then got to Atlanta, and it was a lot of bouncing around. I think I was with Tampa for a couple of weeks, and they got traded to Atlanta, and had to get adjusted and acclimated and hit the ground running to try to prove myself to another team. And didn't do so well in that camp, and then the last day of camp, I was an hour away from the apartment in Atlanta because I was headed to AAA Gwinnett, and I got an hour away. Got another call say you were traded to the Angels, and I was like, oh my god, this is
unreal,
crazy.
Yeah.
Me and the Griswolds were all packed up, ready for the season. So yeah, it was 11 o'clock at night, and we just turned around and drove all through the night back home to Louisiana. I was like, look, it's the craziest thing ever, and but I'm still, no matter when, it is crazy, but it still is exciting because on the other end, one team's getting rid of you, the other team wants you, so it still is exciting, but it's definitely not easy because you got to get used to a whole nother staff, new players.
Yeah.
So, and then you throw the family into the equation. It's definitely not easy, especially when you're on the total opposite side of the country. So, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of my journey, and it's definitely it's crazy, it's wild, it's great, it's frustrating, but it's I've been very lucky to play this game and have the experiences and friendships that I have.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, just getting traded 3 times. I mean, do you think that took kind of like a toll on like your career? You'd say, just kind of get acclimated, to so many different environments, in such a short time.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to say that. It's just.
It was just tough.
It happens to a lot of people. I don't know if it happens in that short period of time.
Yeah.
But it definitely it wasn't easy for me personally. Just because I was had a good start to a big league career in San Diego, and then kind of get traded to these other teams where I wanted to keep that going, and I wanted to prove myself, and I did put a lot of pressure on myself throughout all those transitions and trades, just to say, hey, because when I got sent down in San Diego, I was always trying to prove myself again, and then I never got the chance to get back with San Diego, and then I would get traded to another team, and I was like, all right, now let me prove myself to this team.
Yeah.
Trade again, let me prove myself to this. So I definitely put a little too much pressure on myself, and then, like I said, when you throw the families into it, it wasn't easy from a mental standpoint because I'm dragging the kids and my wife through that, and you don't get to see them as much, and because they stayed home. So it definitely was a struggle. It wasn't easy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So just being in the major leagues. I mean, what was just one quick thing that you tried to progress on? Was it bat speed? Was it adding power to your game? Contact. What was one thing that you could say that you struggled with, but that also you overcame in your career?
That's a good question. One thing that I don't know if it's a struggle, or I don't know if I would call it a struggle.
Always progressing kind of thing.
Or what? But I always was never satisfied, and that can be good and bad to some degree. I put a lot of pressure on myself, in a good way, because I think you have to. I had higher expectations for myself than anybody, but I always wanted to get better. I was never satisfied. I always hit a lot of homers, but I always wanted to hit for a higher average. So I was always searching, trying to find more and more, trying to add more and more to, from a hitting standpoint. I was just trying to add.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad, but at some point in time, you gotta forget all that stuff and just whenever the game comes, just lock it into the mental part. So that was definitely something that you had to overcome. There's a fine line and a balance between trying to get better each and every day, but at some point in time when the game starts or before the game, that's got to shut off, and then the competitors got to come out.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so I mean, just a few more. If you have a few more minutes,
yeah, sure.
Just playing. You got released in May of 2018, and then this year, you gave it a shot with the Sugarland Skeeters. I mean, and then you I think it was in May that you got released. I mean, did you know at that point, your career was trying to move on?
Yeah, I think for guys like me at my age, I'm 31 now with kids and kids and a wife. We got a family. Unfortunately, there weren't many opportunities out there to keep playing in the positions that I would like to play. And at some point in time, kind of the guys who are in my situation, unfortunately, you're kind of forced to make a decision. It's not, like I said it several times, it's not easy when you throw the family in the whole equation, bouncing around from this team to that team.
Yeah.
Everything's uncertain. So yeah, it's definitely a hard choice. I think it'd be a little easier if you were kind of that middle tier guy who's got a few $1 million in the bank and can afford to keep doing that. But for guys like myself, it's a very difficult situation. I would love to continue to play, but there weren't a lot of opportunities out there. So I had to make a very difficult decision to kind of try something new.
Yeah, I mean, so would you say, I don't really know, I couldn't find, your stats for this year with the Sugarland Skeeters. I mean, were you struggling, or was it more of just, you knew it was time to, hang up the cleats and, go home to your family?
No, I didn't even start the season with them. I went there for a little bit, and it just wasn't going to be a good fit and work out. And I was like, you know what, my family was there, and I was like, you know what, it just wasn't going to be a good fit for us, so we decided to come home, and I wish there were more opportunities out there in affiliated ball, but there's at the time there wasn't. Tough, yeah. So as a dad, and a husband, I had to make a life decision. So I would love to keep playing if there was something there, but unfortunately nothing there.
So just real quick, what are you up to now? These days.
Yeah, so I'm in the process right now becoming I'm in the real estate industry now.
Yeah, so I saw Angel Oak Home Loans.
Yeah, Angel Oak Home Loans. They gave me a good opportunity to come there. I've always liked real estate. I've always liked finance, numbers, and that sort of stuff. So I thought it was a really good blend of the two fields to bring it together, and I really enjoy it. So I've been doing that for a few weeks, training, studying to take the test to be in the mortgage industry. So awesome. I'm gonna take all the lessons and the attitude and discipline that I learned in baseball and be successful in this.
Awesome. Yeah. So did you have to? I know LSU. You were there for 3 years. Did you have to go back to school, or did you finish in 3 years? How did that go?
Yeah, I was lucky to. I waited a little too long to go back. I took a couple of years off after I got drafted, and then I would go back periodically. I went back in 2013 for a semester, took a year off, went back in 15, and then I finally finished up in 2017. I had a couple more classes to go, so I finished up in 17, so I was very glad and lucky to finally get that out the way and get my degree from LSU.
Awesome. So, just one quick question, and then, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for your time.
You got it, buddy.
we've asked everyone on the show this. Who would you say, was the toughest pitcher you faced throughout your career? Anyone stand out or?
That's a good question. I'll tell you what, I've faced some unbelievable pitchers. But the one pitcher I could never square up a ball is Kenley Jansen. I've faced him, I'm not sure how many times, but not a ton, but half a dozen times, give or take. But I could never square up a ball. Either swing and miss or get one off the knuckles.
There's something about him.
Something about him. He's big and tall, and he's got a little bit of a different giddy up in his delivery and his stride from time to time, and he's got that cutter. You don't know if it's going to cut or ride up on you. He's definitely got my number for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show. We wish you the best of luck, Ryan. Hopefully, you get the mortgage license and everything, and hopefully everything works out for you.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too, buddy.
Bye. Awesome. Yeah, so that was Ryan Schimpf, former player, MLB player for the San Diego Padres and Los Angeles Angels infielder. Have a good day.